Hello and welcome to Jank It Up Fuzzball, episode 25. I'm your host, Brian, aka Super Battle Jank. What is going on, everyone? I've made it to 25. That seems like a nice round number, not an even number, but it certainly seems like a good number to be at, 25. And I'm super excited. I really am. It's been a while since I did my Worlds recap. Thank you to everyone that listened to that. That quickly became the most listened to episode of Jank It Up Fuzzball. And seriously, I appreciate everyone that took the time to listen to my adventure at Worlds. It means a great deal, having known that so many people heard my story and are finding the podcast and are taking the time to listen to it. So thank you for that. We're now going to return to our regularly scheduled programming of more casual discussion, of jank discussion. And I have to say, I've been playing some Destiny with Greg and with my son, and I have returned to form, meaning that the wins are way fewer in between than the losses. So, winning with Maul at Worlds was fun while it lasted, but we're on to other things, and the wins they'll get here. They'll get here. They're just finding their way. Hope you've been doing well. I wanted to give a shout out to Jeremiah, who won the General Grievous monochromatic from the last episode. At the end of this episode, I'm going to give out another monochromatic, a non-foil Ahsoka Tano from Worlds. So if you're more of a hero player and you like the Jedi, I have an Ahsoka Tano card that I will be giving out. Please, if you're interested in entering that contest, just listen through the end and I'll explain exactly what you need to do to enter. So there you have it. Got a lot of stuff I want to cover today because it has been a while, and we're not going to be nearly as long as we were last episode. But a couple of things I want to talk about. After Worlds, I started wanting to play some droids, but not hero droids, more of the Forlom variety. And I kept really wanting to work with Forlom, wanted to work with some TIE fighters that I've had and have yet to get on the table. So at the end of the episode, or towards the end, I'm going to talk about my adventures in forming a villains droid deck. And right before that, I want to mention that this past weekend, Greg and I cracked a box of Legacies, and we went through half the box, 18 packs, and we did some sealed using Rivals draft kit. So it's like a flashback for both of us. But we're still missing quite a few Legacies. I didn't really get into the game until Legacies, and Greg honestly didn't get into the game until Way of the Force. So that was a lot of fun. We did some sealed with that. I want to talk through that. But leading off, there's an event that I am organizing with Trey of Kingwood Hobbies and also Coaxium Gaming. And it's a charity event in December. So next month, it'll be in Kingwood. So it's North Houston area. But I want to talk about that. I'm super excited about it. It just kind of something that came up and inspired by Trey. Trey, as you know, he's a true friend of Jank. He operates Kingwood Hobbies, and he started offering dealer's choice decks. Now, these are pre-made decks. They're 30-card decks. They come shipped with the characters, with at least 10 dice cards. Everything is sleeved. It's in a deck box. It's ready to play. It's Trey's way of kind of basically moving some inventory and getting them in the hands of people that want to learn the game or play the game. So these dealer choice decks, basically, they're $8 a piece, or you can get a set of 8 for $60. But you don't get a say in characters or anything like that, right? He just sends you a deck, and I have ordered one of Trey's build your own decks where you give him the character pairing and he fills in the deck. And I know Greg has done the same thing actually too, and it's very obvious that Trey puts a lot of thought into these, and the value is great. But for $8, which is less than the $10 I purchased, the build-a deck, you get a fully functional deck, which is better than what you get at these intro decks, right? You go to the store, you buy your intro pack, your Grievous or your Obi-Wan for $14, and you don't even get 30 cards. And this is awesome. Now, it is infinite format, so you're going to get cards that are no longer in standard. But if you're like me, you just love playing the game, that doesn't matter to you. So once Trey came out with this product where he was doing these dealer choice decks, I was excited by that because that's $8 for a completely playable Destiny deck with at least 10 dice cards on top of your characters. That's insane. Now that doesn't count for shipping. And if your ears are already perking up saying, hey, that's something I want, I will definitely provide links in the show notes and also on the episode webpage for this. So if you're interested in that, please do. But those dealer choice decks inspired me with this idea where it reminded me, like, how awesome would it be to have like an event where you showed up and you basically played one of these dealer choice decks, but you didn't know what it was before the event. You just show up to play, and it's kind of like a sealed event, but it's the whole deck as opposed to these packs. And then being the holiday season and it's getting closer to Christmas, have you ever done a white elephant gift exchange? And I'm talking where you unwrap a present and you show it to all your friends and you're excited, and then the next person who's due up to choose a present, they can steal your present. And that sometimes feel bad. And then you can, if your present is stolen, you go and choose another present to unwrap. And this continues until everyone that's participating has a gift. And oftentimes lots of presents are stolen, but after a certain number of times, then they're locked in and they can no longer be stolen. So how cool would it be to have an event where you show up as a player, you pay your entry, you're guaranteed to get a deck, and then instead of just randomly assigning them, you do a white elephant gift exchange for the decks. They're all going to be wrapped. Imagine you show up, you open one, you figure out what your character pairing, kind of what the deck does, and the next person can steal your deck. And if they steal your deck, you have to grab another one and open it up. How cool is that? I think it's awesome. And I kind of pitched this idea to Trey. He thought it was a great idea. Kingwood Hobbies is going to host this event, and it's going to be on Saturday, December 14th. It's a Christmas charity sealed deck tournament, White Elephant sealed deck tournament. It is a charity event because, 'tis the season, and we would love to give back. In Houston, we're eager to play some Destiny. I know recently not a lot, but a small number of Houston players traveled to Austin for a Prime. Our first Prime out of 2 in Houston is January 4th. Covert missions, meanwhile, won't show up until sometime in January. So we're in this big lull, this extended lull. And this provides us an opportunity to engage with the community, the Houston community, and at the same time, raise some funds for an important cause. And so if you're in the Houston area or you're really close and you think you might want to participate, it's going to be a $20 entry fee. And of that $20, $12 of every entry fee is going to be donated to the Northeast Harris County's Toys for Tots program. So if you show up and you want to play, that's awesome. You're guaranteed to get a deck that you can take home with you, and you can either, share it with a friend who you want to introduce the game to, or whatever you want to do with it. But more importantly, you're getting to spend the afternoon with friends that also enjoy the game of Destiny, and your entry fee is providing $12 towards the Toys for Tots program. I think it's great. I'm excited to be part of it. I'm excited that we're able to put this together, and I hope we get a healthy number of participants. I hope that Trey has to make a whole bunch of these pre-made decks and get them wrapped up and ready to go. It's going to be a good time. So just to recap, if you want information on this event specifically, go to jankedupfuzzball.com, click on articles. The very first article you see will be this Christmas tournament. You'll see a nice header graphic where I took the Wicket card and gave him a Santa hat and candy caned up his spear. But you'll get some information about it. It is Saturday, December 14th. I think we're starting at 2 p.m., I believe. It's at Kingwood Hobbies in Kingwood, Texas. Again, it's a $20 entry fee with 12 of that going directly to Toys for Tots. The other amount helps support Kingwood Hobbies and the decks and the prizes and whatnot. It is a White Elephant exchange, and I have the rules posted, but if you're never participated, each player will be randomly assigned a number 1 through whatever, 1 through N, let's say. And the first player chooses a sealed deck. They will identify the team, and the deck list will be shown to everyone. Whoever drew number 2 then has an opportunity to steal that deck or unwrap or choose another deck randomly. And that goes forth, right? If someone steals a deck, then the person who had the deck stolen from them gets to choose a new unwrapped deck, and so forth. Now, once a deck is stolen 3 times, it is locked and cannot be stolen again. So if you're the third person to steal said deck, it is going to be yours, and you're going to be able to play with it. Also, after the final person has made their selection, after everyone has a deck, the very first player may choose any unlocked deck for a final swap. So if you were quote-unquote unlucky enough to draw number 1, and you probably had your deck swiped from you, then you will get a last chance to swap with any unlocked deck. Then there will be a tournament. There'll be a Swiss tournament, Swiss-style tournament. We'll have to see how many players we have. I don't know if there will be a top cut or not. But again, you're going to be playing janky stuff. It's just, you're going to have a good time. It's a fundraiser for a good charity. You get to play some Destiny. You're going to play some cards. I'm excited because there's going to be cards that I really don't have any experience with. And I can't imagine through the mind of Trey what kind of awesome janky pairings we're going to get. I'm sure he's going to be building around the infinite point totals. So we're going to see all kinds of fun stuff. And I can't wait. There's going to be all kinds of prizes. I don't know exactly what those are, but I will tell you, I am donating my foil Imperial Death Trooper card that I picked up at Worlds in a blind bag. That's going to be somewhere in there, either as a door prize or as a tournament prize. I also am in the process of making Jank It Up Fuzzball power action tokens. If you follow me on Twitter a few weeks ago, you saw me working on that, just kind of lightning bolt of an idea. But I'm super excited about these. These are actually poker chips that are branded with Jank It Up Fuzzball. And those are going to be power action tokens. And if you enter yourself into this tournament, if you show up to play in the tournament, I'm going to give each participant one Jank It Up Fuzzball power action token. So just a little incentive. Again, you're going to get a deck of cards. You're going to get a power action token. You're going to be giving $12 of your entry fee going directly to Toys for Tots. I would love to have just a huge turnout. Again, the Houston community is a great community. They represented themselves at Worlds. They represented themselves at the Austin Prime. We had 3 players in the top 8 there. That was super exciting. And I hope we have a big event. Again, there's not a lot going on in November and December in terms of Destiny in this town. We're all getting ready for that January Prime. But this is a good opportunity to just get together, have some fun, and play some jank, right? All the good things that I like to do. So if you're interested in that, check out jankitupfuzzball.com, click on articles, and you should see the Christmas charity tournament banner, and that'll give you all the details. If you have any questions, please reach out to me. And if you're not going to be in Houston, you don't want to play, but you want to check out these very affordable dealer's choice decks, go to kingwoodhobbies.com. I will provide direct links also on the website to check that out. All right, speaking of sealed, I mentioned that Greg and I, I bought a box on eBay of Legacies. I purchased it, including shipping, for like $28, which seemed like a good price for Legacies. And we decided that we wanted to play some sealed again, right? Sometimes it's hard to kind of put together decks in terms of we all have different responsibilities, and just finding the time to sleeve up new stuff. That takes some time. But sealed is something you can do relatively quickly. So it was great. He came over this past weekend. We dumped out 36 packs from the box, the sealed box, and we each chose 9, and then we shoved the other 18 back in the box for another time. We each had our Rivals draft kit. I remembered this time to make sure I had at least one hidden motive pulled from my decks, because those are always in some deck somewhere, right? I remember one event we played, and I just flat out forgot I had a hidden motive. It wasn't in my Rivals kit, and I didn't even use it that day. So that was a feel bad moment. Not that it made a difference, but I made sure I had all 20 of my Rivals cards ready to go, and we pulled through. We decided that we would do what we've done in the past, is that after we finish the complete box, then whoever wins this first round gets first pick of the legendary, and whoever wins the second round will get second pick of the legendary. We were lucky enough. We pulled 5 legendaries in this night. So there's 1 legendary still in the box ready to go, but we pulled 5 legendaries. Greg pulled Yoda, which is super exciting. And, he has 1 Yoda that I traded to him, but he pulled a Yoda. He got to use it. And ultimately, he's going to be able to take that Yoda home. I already have 2 Yodas, so no matter what, he's going to get that Yoda, right? There's no reason for me to have 3 Yoda and him to have 1. That doesn't make sense. So he pulled a Yoda. That's exciting. He also pulled a Tarkin. Neither one of us have a Tarkin, so I'm excited about that card, right? I think he's really, really interesting as a character, and I know he's had his moments in the meta, so that was cool. I found another Saw Gerrera. So we pulled a Saw Gerrera. I pulled one the last time we did a Legacies box battle where we each opened our own box of Legacies. I pulled a Saw. So all of a sudden, there's potential for me to have Elite Saw, which is kind of exciting. And then I also pulled a Zeb's blaster rifle. I don't know the exact name of that, but it's Zeb's weapon, and that's a legendary, and that's nice. It's got 4 modifier sides. It's a 3-cost yellow weapon, so that was really, really good. And then Greg pulled the fifth one was Kylo Ren Starfighter. So that's one that I pulled in the box from a while ago. So I feel like that one's probably going to find its way to Greg no matter what. But those were the 5 legendaries. Pulled a lot of interesting characters also. He pulled a Rebel Trader. He pulled Jar Jar. I pulled Dark Advisor. I pulled a Hondo. I didn't have any Hondos. I got my first Hondo. And then, of course, using the Rivals kit, we had to make teams. A very strange night in that we actually both built around Lobot. And yeah, usually we look for Anakin first and Lobot last, perhaps, but we both ended up using Lobot as our red character. And I went with Saw Gerrera as my yellow Lobot, and then I used Dark Advisor. That gave me Rainbow, and I was happy for that. Greg kind of really hemmed and hawed over some decisions, but he ultimately went with Rebel Trader as yellow, Lobot as red, and Yoda. How can you not play Yoda as blue? And that was it. It was fun, right? We had lots of janky cards, obviously. Anytime you play Sealed, you get some crazy stuff going on, and we had a good time. The first game was close. It was surprisingly close. You know, I was always targeting Yoda. I just made a decision that Yoda needs to get off the board first, and yet we were all, when we had the opportunity, we were guarding Lobot. And so Lobot's big job was just to die first on both teams. I think that was his role. And I think oftentimes he did die first. Occasionally, if you roll a special and you can pump another one of your dice by 2, that was awesome. That was a feel-good moment. Or he has a focus, that was feel-good. But primarily, Lobot was there to be a meat shield for both of us, it seems. First game was back and forth. I managed to get Yoda off the board. He probably popped off Lobot and maybe Dark Advisor. I don't remember exactly what character I had left, but I know we were both really, really down to the wire. I remember I had Zeb's bow rifle out. Is it a bow rifle? Well, I had his rifle out, and that was it. That does a lot of work. Even though it has modifiers, you could pay a resource to resolve them without the modifier. I also had a copy of Legacies, the namesake card. As long as you can spot a blue character, you can resolve modifiers as if they were not modified. So a couple times in the night, I was able to throw that down and resolve Zeb's weapon as it were base side as opposed to modifier, and that was really good. First game ended, though, when I had 2 health left on my last character, and I think it was Saw. He rolled in Rebel Trader, who had a yellow weapon of some kind on him. Maybe it was the Verpine sniper rifle. But he rolled his 2 in, so he had 2 dice in the pool. I did something, who knows. But the next action he took, he played free-for-all, which not overly familiar with that card, but it just allows you to remove any number of dice, and you can deal that much indirect damage to an opponent. And I had 2 health left. He picked up both of his dice. And that was game 1. Went to Greg. So it was a fun ending, right? I mean, I didn't mind because it was an interesting play. I've never seen that card played in a game, either by me or against me. So that was pretty solid. I had a good time. The second game, I managed to get out a cover team in round 1. And the cover team, you exhaust the support to resolve one of your dice showing indirect damage, increasing its value by 1. And obviously, Legacies, the introduction of indirect, Saw has indirect, even Dark Advisor has indirect. It was pretty easy to use that and just keep piling damage on. And I won the second game. It felt like pretty convincingly because I think I got ahead early and I just was able to stay ahead and get things down. I think I got a Fang Fighter down and off to the races. It wasn't that close. Greg, however, took the tiebreaker. You know, I don't remember the details of the third game other than I lost. Yeah, I just honestly don't know what happened. I lost. I'm sure it was closer in the second. I do remember that, but it wasn't nearly as exciting as the free-for-all play. But I just didn't get it done. And so Greg took the night, won 2 out of 3. That gives him the first pick. He's going to take Yoda no matter what. And I actually already sent him home with the Kylo Ren Starfighter because that's not something that I'm going to want, and I already have one. And he basically said that I could have Saw Gerrera. So we'll see. You know, we got Tarkin still out there. We got Zeb's bow rifle still out there. And then we have at least one more legendary sitting in the box for the next time we do it. You have heard me talk on this podcast a lot about sealed play, and I love it. And I know there's a cost associated with it, but right now, like I said, you can get boxes of Destiny relatively cheaply, and in some cases, really, really cheaply on places like Amazon, especially if you want to buy a black box, meaning like from the Awakening set. And I saw today on Amazon, an Empire at War box is 1102, and it's primable. So you can get 36 packs of cards for just over $11, which is nuts. Now, again, I know it's not standard, but there's a thing called Infinite. And if you're just a kitchen table player, does it really matter? Probably not. And if you're listening to this podcast, you probably have some kitchen table player in you, right? That's a good deal. And if you haven't already scooped one up, it's a good deal. Because for that, suddenly, you can show up or you can invite some friends over and you can play without having to do any kind of planning ahead of time, right? Hey, bring some sleeves, bring some tokens, bring a draft kit if you got it. Let's crack some packs and sleeve up and have some fun. And I love sealed. I really do. I say that knowing that I have a Spirit of Rebellion box up in my closet. I think Greg has 2 Empire at War boxes at his house. We're good through the winter, right? As we wait on convert missions, we have stuff to entertain ourselves beyond standard play, and that's good. That keeps it fun. All right, speaking of standard play, it wasn't all sealed. So since I got back from Worlds, I haven't played the Maul deck at all. I've let my son play that. The few times I've played with my son, I just give him that deck to let him smash me in the face, and he has done that very well. Again, I mitigate very, very lightly with my son. And he gets a little overexcited. He'll draw and said, "Ooh, Dad, I got an act of cruelty." And I'm like, "I wish you wouldn't have said that because I have 2 probes in my hand. Now I feel like a jerk if I probe for your act of cruelty." So I just eat the probes and let him act of cruelty me, and generally the day goes better for me if that's the case. But he loves rolling Maul, and who doesn't? I was so happy to see Maul make some of these top cuts on the primes recently, and so keep going. By the way, shout out to Kevin, Roll On. I love Kevin and Corwin. They were at a prime. Corwin made top cut with Raylo. Corwin actually beat Kevin in the last match before top cut. Kevin, that's a tough loss, but I'm proud of you for running the proper Maul deck. Maul Mando. Way to go. Way to see the light. That is Yellow Maul. And scene. So yeah, what deck was I wanted to play? I mentioned at the beginning of the episode, I was thinking about Droids, thinking about Forlom. And honestly, I was like, Forlom's pretty good. We saw that at Worlds. He's pretty good. I don't have all the cool... I don't have any Vader's Fist, so I can't delve for that. So I was like, what can I do that'll be fun and exciting? And I finally decided, I have all these TIE Fighters. I managed to grab some TIE Fighters on the cheap-ish. And I'd never played them in a deck yet. I wanted to play them. Another character that I love the idea of, but I haven't really played, is Mauler Mythal. And I have Black 2, so I said, let's do Mauler Mythal, let's do Forlom, each elite. That gives me enough room for armored reinforcement. And then I had just a bunch of ties. And that was good. So it was aggro. I had 2 characters. And, Greg came over. This was previous to this past weekend. Greg came over. He had a really interesting Ayla Enfys Nest deck. And, this Forlom deck did really well. I went 3 straight against that Ayla Enfys Nest deck. And I was on top of the world. I was like, man. I mean, it got close. And I wouldn't say that they weren't blowouts, but I won 3 in a row. I had TIE Fighters doing their thing. It was great. But that's a hero deck. So then he says, okay, enough of that. Here's IG-88 Battle Droid Grievous. And we played 2 games of that. I didn't kill a single character. And of course, Black 2 made it on the table only to be desperate measured early on. And it was messy. His 3 character lineup just abused my 2 character lineup. And that was it. So I was like, man, I just don't have the health to sustain that kind of onslaught, especially if you AR in a pretty cool weapon, or a pretty cool support, and only to have it DM'd out. I get that's the risk. I understand that's the risk. Trying to go wide with TIE Fighters was the plan. I even got down. I did delve. I delved for a planetary bombardment in one of those games, and I still lost. So it's like, ugh, what are you gonna do? So after that, I thought, how can I improve this? What can I change? I need more health. Maybe the AR is not the right call. So if you think about it, if you take away the AR is like 3 build points, and then I can get more health by taking Mauler out, because you really only need Mauler if you're gonna guarantee yourself Black 2. and take an AR out. Can't guarantee myself Black 2. So then I said, let's just go 3 droids. And Super Battle Droid, which is one of my favorite characters. I just love him. Now, I know he's not great, but he has the ability to turn any droid character dice to a side throwing damage. And so with Forlom, Elite Forlom, you could run Super Battle Droid and a normal Battle Droid, and you got a 3 droid army. And I said, this is it. This is going to be fun. It's got more health. It's got some great synergy because they're all droids. So that means modular frames can just be shoved around. And I took a little bit of a different tact, right? I kept in 2 copies of Dead or Alive. I had 2 Wanted in the other version, but I took those out. I put in Defoliator Tank because that's a nice little beast of a thing that can hurt droids. Now, obviously, if he shows up with IG-88 Battle Droid and Grievous again, then that's probably a wash. But I have the Hellfire in there. I introduced 2 Fickle Mercenaries. I went down to 3 TIE Fighters, and I still kept Planetary Bombardment because that's just a fun card to delve down into. I put some upgrades in it. All have redeploy. So like A300 Blaster, Donderbus Blaster Pistol, which could go on Forlom and then has redeploy. I even put an Inferno Squad D10 Seeker Droid just because I needed some kind of focus, right? I needed some way to focus these die. I know that the Super Battle Droid, but he can only focus 1 droid character die. That's it. I also changed the battlefield, opting for Theed Royal Palace as opposed to Night Sister Lair, since I wasn't running as many downgrades. And I was really looking forward to this. So after we played our 3 games of Sealed, we put that away. And then I had this new deck. I was excited. I was like, let's do this. And Greg brought 2 new decks, and they were both pretty brilliant because he first throws down Old Man Luke, Ayla, and his previous Yoda, all single die and Solidarity. And I was just like, Solidarity deck. I was feeling pretty good because every time I've tried a Solidarity deck, it ends really poorly. But Shields for days, my friend. Shields for days. It's tough. It was tough to get through that. It was a really great game, though, back and forth. Greg afterwards said he thought he had it pretty early on. But then, thanks to some lucky rolls and some focusing because of the Super Battle Droid, I punched 7 into Yoda in one action, dropping him basically to his knees. And then subsequently, shortly thereafter, I took Yoda out. And it was starting to get really interesting. And at the end of the day, he closed it out. So he got the win. But I made him sweat it out there. And hats off to Greg. Solidarity deck. It was really interesting and exciting, and it inspired me to kind of work on a Solidarity deck of my own. So I'm starting in the early deck building phase of that. But yeah, I thought it was great. And then he pulled out another deck, and I'm like, well, I'm going to play this again because Forlom's now lost 3 games in a row, and I really want to try to redeem him if I can. And he pulls out Clone Commander Cody, Clone Trooper, Armored Reinforcement. So I'm like, okay, I'm not exactly sure what the Armored Reinforcement is going to bring out, but let's see. And it didn't take long for Greg to pop Armored Reinforcement, spend 1 for ATRT. For me to realize that, I was like, oh no. So an ATRT, my friends, if you forget, modifies any trooper die, like any symbol. You just roll it out, it has a plus something on it, and then it modifies a trooper die. So all of his characters are troopers. So as long as they don't roll blanks, and as long as ATRT doesn't roll blank, then it's on. And wow, that was a pretty fast game. It felt pretty fast. I didn't draw desperate measures to blow out that, and he actually naturally pulled the second ATRT. And yeah, holy cow, it was nuts. I think I killed 1 clone trooper, but by then, yeah, it was just really, really nuts. And that inspired me because I'm like, man, I want to ARN and ATRT. Now I know, again, desperate measures could knock that out, but on a trooper deck, it gets really interesting really quick from round 1 on when you have a dice that can boost any trooper side. It has a +1, +1, +2, +2, +3 for a resource and a miss. But holy cow, hats off to Greg. 2 really interesting decks. Took out my Super Battle Droids twice, and I finished the night 1-4. But you know what? Honestly, I had a smile on my face, right? I saw some really interesting things from Greg, really inspiring things. We've all had days where we've played, I don't know if we've all had days, but I've certainly had days where we've played Destiny and you can only get your teeth kicked in so many times. And those are rough nights when you're like, wow, I didn't play well and I just got crushed. Am I any good at this game? This was not that, right? In a sealed event, you never know how it's going to go. And then I felt reasonably good about the droid deck. I think I can make it better. I'm sure there are ways to make it better. But ultimately, Battle Droid and Super Battle Droid, as fun as they are, they're inconsistent. And why would you run those two when for the same point total you can get Grievous and Sentinel Messenger? And Grievous offers you droid rerolls, he offers you focusing, and Sentinel Messenger offers you a 6 card and just a better die. And so I totally get it. I'm a little, I'm intentionally not playing Sentinel Messenger because I'm just trying to, go the other direction. I'm going against the grain. And I love Super Battle Droid. One day I'll probably build just a 3-wide Super Battle Droid, maybe throw an AR just because, or profitable connections. I don't know, but something that is going to, it could be fun. Could be fun. We'll see. So that's been my Destiny experience, my casual play. I'm excited. I'm inspired by Greg's last 2 decks. I am working on maybe a yellow Solidarity deck, and I'm also imagining a really, really janky Phasma Claudite Shapeshifter AR deck. And yeah, exactly, right? You're like, what? I know, I'm with you, but I think it's going to be fun. I'm going to build it. I'll give it a go. We'll see. Greg will have probably listened to this and say, well, no, it's coming, but that's okay. I mean, where else can you play a big little where the little is Claudite freaking Shapeshifter? But every time he activates, he's a trooper for the end of the turn. Cheers to that. All right, I feel like I have talked my way through a lot of this episode. I'm excited to be back behind the mic. It has been a while. It feels like it's been a while. But as we do with every episode, it's time to crack a pack. And I want to give a huge shout out to the Game Shop of Destiny. They are one of my big sponsors. They're a friend of Jank. Back when I made the call out saying, hey, I'm really low on packs. I don't have any more Spark of Hope packs. I was trying to find some. 2 people answered my call. Trey mailed me some packs, so thank you, Trey. I still have a number of packs from Trey, but then also Game Shop of Destiny. They sent me a goodie bag full of stickers and these packs, and I really appreciate that. And they are friends of Jank, and you should check them out because they have a great selection of cards, and if you use Jank15, you're going to save 15% off of any order of Destiny singles. So please check them out, gameshopofdestiny.com. Kingwood Hobbies and Game Shop Destiny, really appreciate the support. I imagine going forward, I will alternate between you for the crack packs, and that seems like a totally good, totally fair thing. But honestly, a heartfelt thanks to both of you for answering the call and giving me this. It turns out in talking with people at Worlds, they really like this segment. I hope you like this segment because for a casual player, for someone who doesn't just rip through a box upon a set's release, there's still a magic in opening a pack and seeing what's inside and analyzing the cards. And I still get excited for that. And what's awesome is like when Greg was over and we ripped through half a box of Legacies, my son was still awake. It was, he hadn't gone to bed yet. So I let him open my 9 packs, and it's just awesome, right? It's awesome to see my son open a pack, identify the card almost by the die, and then read me the cards that are there, and then help me sort. It's just nice, and so I'm glad you like this part. I like it, obviously. Right here we have a Spark of Hope pack. Thank you, Game Shop of Destiny, and again, gameshopofdestiny.com. Please give them some support. They are relatively new to the Destiny scene, but they have hit the ground running, and certainly you've seen their stuff in other social media channels. So give them a follow, and let's see what we got. So here we have Spark of Hope Booster Pack. It has the Perfect Gentleman, C-3PO on the cover. Let's crack it open. All right, it is a blue die, and I just spilled all the cards all over my floor. Oh no. All right, it is a blue die, and it is Sacred Jedi Text. It is a rare hero upgrade equipment. It is 1 cost. It has die sides of 1 focus, +1 resource, +1 resource, special blank blank. It says after you resolve this die, you may move this upgrade to one of your apprentice or Jedi characters, and the special is draw a card. So, apprentice and Jedi character or Jedi characters, this is really interesting. I mentioned how Greg ran a Yoda, Ayla, Luke deck, so that was a Jedi deck, and I'm giving away at the end of this episode an Ahsoka Tano apprentice. Also, Reylo, both Rey and Kylo are apprentices. So there's some flexibility here. So let me read this again. After you resolve this die, you may move this upgrade to one of your apprentice or Jedi characters. So it's possible that you can get multiple resolutions from this die in a single turn, so long as you kind of bounce this between your characters. So Sacred Jedi Text is the rare, and I should mention, I don't have this card. So thank you, Game Shop of Destiny, for increasing or helping me fill out my collection of Spark of Hope. What's the uncommon? This is a nice one. Jedi Mind Trick. It is a 2-cost hero event. Spot a Jedi. I'm sensing a theme with this pack. Spot a Jedi to choose a dice pool. An opponent splits the dice in that pool into 2 groups of any size. Either remove all dice in a group or turn any number of dice in a group to the sides of your choice. It's a lot of words. Let's go through it again. So it's an event. It costs 2. It's a hero. Spot a Jedi. So you have to spot a Jedi to choose a dice pool. So either yours or an opponent's. An opponent then splits the dice in that pool into 2 groups of any size. And then you can either remove all the dice in a group or turn any number of dice in a group to the sides of your choice. So if that makes your head hurt, just trying to think through the possibilities, that, my friends, is why it's a Jedi mind trick. It's interesting. I've played this card once, I believe, against Greg, and it certainly pauses the game, right? Because you really have to analyze, what am I going to do? What's best for me? What are the possibilities? Because again, your opponent is going to split a dice pool that you identify, but they don't know if you're either going to remove the dice in a group or turn any number of dice in a group to the sides of your choice. Very interesting card. Happy to have another copy of that uncommon. Next up, man, I'm just rolling it, and I feel like this is for Blue Hero, all the decks we've had. But here we go. This is Polarity. Now, it is a blue neutral event. It costs 1. It has Ambush. Spot a hero character to give a character 1 shield. Spot a villain character to deal 1 damage to a character. So obviously, you play this with Reylo, you get both of those abilities. I don't see you necessarily playing this outside of Reylo because it's going to cost 1. You're either going to get a shield or you're going to do 1 damage for 1 cost, which isn't necessarily on curve. But if you're playing Reylo, Polarity is probably in your deck. Next up, Clever Distraction. So yet another blue card. This is 4 straight blue cards. It is an event. It is a 1-cost neutral event. It's got a picture of R2-D2 kind of lighting up some flames, lighting up some super battle droids. So it says spot a blue character to choose 1. Turn 1 of your dice to any side. Discard the top 2 cards of a deck. Remove a trooper die. So again, you get to choose 1 of these so long as you spot a blue character. Turn 1 of your dice to any side. Discard the top 2 cards of a deck. Remove a trooper die. So there you go. Pretty situational. Obviously, it could be used in a mill deck, and we saw the resurgence of mill in this past weekend's Prime. You can also use it as a focus, or you can use it situationally to remove a trooper dice. So there you go. The 5th card, not a blue card. It is Crushing Advantage. It is a 2-cost villain event. If you have more character dice in your pool than an opponent has in their pool, remove 1 of that opponent's character dice. Repeat this for support dice and upgrade dice. So there you go. Interesting. So cost 2, but you potentially get to remove 3 dice, assuming you have the most character dice, you have the most upgrade dice, and you have the most support dice. Let me read it one more time. If you have more character dice in your pool than an opponent has in their pool, remove 1 of that opponent's character dice. Then repeat this for support dice and upgrade dice. So again, If you have more upgrade dice in your pool than an opponent has in their pool, remove one of that opponent's upgrade dice, and then same thing for support. So if you have more support dice in your pool than an opponent has in their pool, remove one of that opponent's support dice. Super situational, this would be great in sealed or draft. Probably it's a blowout card where if you're set up properly, you can remove anywhere from 1 to 3 dice. So pretty interesting for sure. Let's recap the pack. The rare was Sacred Jedi Text. That's a hero upgrade equipment. The uncommon was Jedi Mind Trick, a hero blue event. The first common was Polarity. It is a blue neutral event. And then Clever Distraction, which is a blue neutral event. And last, Crushing Advantage, which is a red villain event. Thank you again to Game Shop of Destiny for the pack. Really appreciate that. Check them out at gameshopofdestiny.com. Rounding up the episode, please check out kingwoodhobbies.com as Trey is the producer of the aforementioned Dealer's Choice decks. Super excited about the event at Kingwood Hobbies on December 14th. If you are local to Houston or you'll find yourself in town on that weekend, please join us. You'll be raising money for a great cause, and you'll be playing some jank, having some fun. Certainly, I hope so. All right, that's it. Episode 25. It has been a blast. I really have enjoyed playing some more casual Destiny, even though the winds haven't followed me home from Worlds. You know, my love of the game has never been stronger, and I can't wait to build some decks, especially with AR and ATRT. Hat tip to Greg. All right, so just a reminder, I'm going to sign off, but then if you listen past the music, I will give you directions on how to go about entering a contest for an Ahsoka Tano non-foil blue monochromatic card from Worlds. All right, that's it. That's 25. Play some jank, roll some dice, have some fun. We'll talk to you soon. All right. So if you're still here and you're listening and you're probably, maybe, hopefully wondering, how do I enter to win this monochromatic Ahsoka Tano card? Well, it's very simple. Reach out to me either on social media or through reacting to one of the posts for this episode or at jankedupfuzzball@gmail.com. And I simply want to know, what is your ideal team for Ahsoka Tano Brash Prodigy? If you're not totally familiar with the card, she is a character and an apprentice. She is 8 or 11 points, and her health is a very squishy 8. That's droid level squishy, I suppose. And her text reads, after you activate a Jedi, you may resolve one of this character's character or upgrade dice. If that die is showing a modifier, resolve it as if it did not have a modifier. And that's because her die is 1 melee, +2 melee, +2 melee, +2 shields, 1 resource, and a blank. So I have 1 copy of Ahsoka Tano in my collection, and I've yet to get her on the table. I think I really need a second copy, but we will see. We will see. So simply reach out and tell me, what kind of deck would you run with Ahsoka Tano in it? Who would you pair her with? And, you know, I'm not choosing the winner based on the answers to that, but if you submit a choice, then you will be entered into a random drawing. And I will make this drawing on Friday, November 22nd. So that's a little over a week from the episode dropping. Please, I would love to hear your thoughts on Ahsoka Tano Brash Prodigy. Hey, thanks again for listening, and we will talk to you soon. And if you're in Houston, come see me December 14th. It'll be a lot of fun.